What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Choops, how are you, my friend?
A, B, C, D. I'm confused. I'm a different way. My hand is going this way, but on your screen it's going the other way. You have taught me now the next step in that technological evolution that we have seen throughout this year. My camera is mirrored. I don't know what that means.
Well, the thing is, it's not mirrored anymore.
It's not mirrored anymore, guys.
That's
So
what it is.
that's what it is. Thank you for joining us. It's that night. It's that night. It's that night. Tampa Bay, you're going down. Eric, who is number 12 in the Kelly Green jersey?
I don't know.
I hate you.
I don't know.
It is Randall Cunningham, and we are hoping for a good luck jersey tonight because, man, I am not confident going into this game.
I'm sure that you're not, but that's for you just for a couple of minutes here. Just so you can celebrate. He's not even paying attention to what I've done on the ticker for him. Like, I'm just letting you have your moment.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, this is a big game for you guys. But anyway, welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Like, share, subscribe. Help us to run those numbers up. This is a big week for us, man. We've got our 100th episode coming up on Thursday. How you feeling?
That's crazy. I remember
Dude, right?
we talked a little while ago. Wow, don't cry. It's okay. I remember we talked a while ago. I didn't think we were going to make it to 5, and we made it 95 more than I thought we would. So, hey, good job on us. It's not there yet, card subject to change, but I feel good about it, and I think we'll have a fun show.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of major things in the works for 2024, and we're so excited to bring this content to you guys. Again, like, share, subscribe, and you'll see what we're doing. We've got shorts. We've got TikTok. We got Instagram. Well, I have TikTok. He'll be on in probably in the 5 or 6 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah, you got to give me at least a decade. I just figured out how to not mirror or whatever I did.
That's a good point. Yeah, well, you ready to talk some wrestling? It was a cold weekend this weekend, so it was.
No,
what?
I'm not. Mr. Cincinnati, you left out a major subplot of what we have going on this week.
We've got 2 great interviews. We are going to be.
And what else are we doing, Mr. Cincinnati?
Can I talk?
You're the host.
Okay, I was going to say we've got interviews. That much we know for sure. We are going to be joining the On the Mark podcast this Thursday, the Main Event Network. This is the first main event mixer of sorts between network shows. This is like when Law and Order and Law and Order SVU get together and then sprinkle in a
do
little
I get to be
Stabler?
Stabler?
Yeah, if I can be Ice-T.
Yeah. Hey, I don't care what you do the rest of the show. You just made my night. Love that guy.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. I would never have pegged you for an SVU guy.
Oh yeah, dude, love that show. Love that show.
Okay.
And I'm being honest. I'm not being sarcastic.
It's like peeling an onion with you.
I know sometimes, I pull your leg a little bit, but no, I love SVU.
Season 25 kicks off this week.
Haven't watched it probably since season 15, but hey.
Yeah.
Ever since Stabler left, I don't like that. I know that he's back in some sort of role, but we are 4 minutes into the show.
And then they cross over, much like
we haven't talked about wrestling. So let's get off of Law and Order.
Well, to be fair, I tried to start talking about wrestling.
TNA.
You
TNA. TNA. TNA.
Let's get into it. With all the winter weather all over the country for the better part of it this weekend, this was some great wrestling watching weather. Let's start with TNA, Hard to Kill, their first rebranded pay-per-view. Man, I was blown away. I was very, very impressed with first show. I have not watched a full TNA event in well over a decade. So I kind of went into this blind for the most part, just to, obviously I know the names that are there in TNA, but I've not been able to follow a story. I don't necessarily watch from week to week. And I like I said, I was pretty blown away. There were some things that I didn't necessarily care for, but overall, I think top to bottom was a great show.
Yeah, I don't know about blown away. It was a good show. They definitely feel like that third brand for sure. They had some timing issues on the show. There were some production issues that we saw. It did feel, I don't want to say minor league, but it definitely did not feel like, an AEW, a WWE. That being said, it's awesome to see TNA kind of thriving again, right? You know, they got a
Yeah.
couple big names there, got a couple of homegrown names there. You know, Hammerstone was on the show. You got to see Josh Alexander. That was a really good match.
Yeah.
Probably the best match on the card, I would say. Either that or the three-way with for the X Division title.
I'm gonna throw in the knockouts title into that
Okay,
mix
that's
too.
fair.
That
That's
was a
fair.
very, very physical, very hard hitting. I don't want Jordan Grace to yell at me for not having this match involved in that conversation. And I think it deserves to be there. Um, yeah, I mean, we usually have. Oh yeah, I forgot that there's still Fly Eagles. It's your day. I'm just gonna let that. I'm just gonna
Want me
let
to sing
that
it?
go. I
I'll
almost
sing the
changed it.
song
No,
for you.
I am sure that you will. And if you start doing that, then I'm gonna start yelling "Who Day." But it's not our day, so
You know what? You know what they do? And they sitting on the couch.
that's okay. That's fine. Just wait till next year. Just wait till next. We keep doing it again. Let's go back to
How many
wrestling.
times have I heard that in my life? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is why we can't have nice. It's that yeah. And people say I'm the problem. Okay, all right. Anyway, so how do you want to start this? As far as do we going through every match, or what are you feeling here?
No, I don't think like we need to go through every match. I just think we need to touch on it. Like TNA, they went through this rebrand. You know, I think Scott D'Amore is a good person to run TNA. I
Yeah.
think it's someone that cares. It's someone that's been in TNA for a very, very long time, had left, now come back. You know, in full transparency, and you will say the same thing, we haven't really kept up with TNA. Like, I can't remember the last
No.
time I watched a TNA show. It had to be when Hollywood was there. Hollywood Terry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that was
Good
probably,
catch.
yeah,
Good
yeah, I
catch.
know. Don't you worry. I saw you look up at the board. It's been a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But TNA, they have my attention. You know,
Sure.
that's a. I don't know how much it was. How much was the pay per view? Was it $20?
$40. Yeah.
It was 40. Okay,
Yeah.
so like that might be something that and I know they don't go month to month base. I'm pretty sure they don't. Right? They're more quarterly.
Yeah, I think so, and we'll see. If that changes as time goes on. I that's the thing that I'm gonna miss about AEW's structure is just the quarterly pay per view. I liked those builds because I mean, there is an art and a science to getting the storytelling right for a month to month show. And I'm fine with this now, given the smaller reach that TNA has. I mean, I know they're on Access TV, but I don't know how widely available that is for their weekly TV pay-per-views. You can get them through Impact Plus, as well as on Triller, the way that we watch the show. So I like the idea of the quarterly here, and gives them, and especially with this restart here, there's something that they can build to, and a lot of things that happen that they can really capitalize on here. What were your favorite matches of the night? Like I said, we're not going to go into each one, but let's hear what you had to say about the ones that you did like.
Yeah, like I said, I like the Josh Alexander Hammerstone match. I thought that was a unique clash of styles. Hammerstone is not signed with TNA, so this was kind of like his tryout per se. I could see him signing with TNA and doing that for a little bit. Maybe a 1 to 2 year deal and kind of get some more miles under him. I really like the X Division 3-way with Chris Sabin, Vikingo, and it's escaping me right now. But who's the third guy?
It's Kushida.
Kushida, of course, yes. And I like that 3-way. It was a lot of fun. And then, like I said, the knockouts match was fun. The last, I don't know, 2 minutes of the world title match was fun. Other than that, like it was kind of it was kind of a long,
like paint
plotting
by
match.
numbers kind of
Yeah. So like all that was fun. There was a good mix of everything going on in there. I like the belt redesign for all of the titles. I just like TNA feels like something that I will now pay attention to a little bit more. Like how I pay attention to New Japan. Like I know what's going on over there. I may not watch every show, but I will probably now read the results and kind of see if there's anything that there's worth watching that anybody's talking about, and whether I need to go, like a Hammerstone, if he signed, maybe go follow his journey through TNA, kind of like Trinity did, brought some eyes to TNA for a while. Like, I think that's what I take away from this is there is another good, viable place to go work. While it
Yeah.
may not be that those two major leagues, it is a solid place to go work and to do something like a Trinity did and go there, wrestle for a year, and now probably coming back to the WWE and the Rumble. But it was a good kind of pit stop for her to go do something different and make a name for herself outside of those two big system companies.
Yeah, yeah, and just kind of a quick aside, and I reposted this on our Twitter account. There was an article written by at Queen Steph Hardy on Twitter about Mercedes and Sasha, or Mercedes and Naomi, excuse me, taking a chance on themselves and going out and showing that they can create value for themselves, and seeing, the fact that every company in the world essentially wants their services because they took a chance. It's not every day that somebody walks out on Vince McMahon. And
Yep.
not everybody bounces back from walking out on Vince McMahon. These two clearly are. Trinity, it seems like, is more likely than not going to return to WWE. She does still have 2 dates, according to Fightful, that she has left as far as Impact taping. So I don't necessarily think that these will be anything too intense, but it does sound like because she did lose the Knockouts championship, that she's likely getting ready to wrap up there. So seeing that, as well as what we're seeing with Mercedes and basically creating a bidding war all on her own, and kind of wondering where is she going to go next. And a lot of times that people thought she was going to show up in AEW, she didn't. It doesn't mean the WWE is
Yeah.
still out of the picture. I mean, she and Bayley were at Hard to Kill the other night, supporting Trinity, which I also thought was really cool. But anyway, the point of that is check out that article. We did repost it earlier today. But yeah, no, I agree with you. This is feeling like a viable place to work now, and I think because of what we heard about the nightmares of previous ownership and cash flow and issues like that, that really made you think, will this company even survive 10 or so years ago.
No way.
Those seem to have fallen by the wayside, and things have improved now. We did see 2 major debuts here at Hard to Kill. The first one, Ash by Elegance, formerly known as Dana Brooke, debuted. A lot of chatter online about this gimmick. I know how you feel about it. Your exact words were that you were indifferent. I remember the text messages. But do you think that this is an appropriate landing spot for her?
If she wants to keep wrestling, sure. Like she didn't seem like a fit for AEW. She does, she did her thing in WWE. This is fine. Like it doesn't. There's no harm, no foul for me. Like I said, I'm a little bit indifferent. Like I wasn't the biggest Dana Brooke fan. It just, and I wasn't like the biggest Dana Brooke hater. Like she was just kind of there. So
Sure.
if this is again a place for her to do what she wants to do, I'm all for it. I'll watch. I'll pay attention. I did see the chatter online about her almost kind of doing like a timeless Tony Storm gimmick, which let's see how it plays out. Let's not
Yeah.
let's not jump to it because she didn't say anything. So let's kind of
Yeah.
see, what happens there. But yeah, like the other debut definitely made more of an impact for me. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, as far as this debut of Ash by Elegance, I think that it is. Yeah, it's way too early to make that conclusion that she's ripping off Tony Storm. And if for anybody that does believe that she is, I mean, please respectfully enlighten me as to how they think that these are two very, these are the same gimmick. They don't strike as far as initial presentation. These don't, you know, this. I mean, the closest thing I can think of when I see this Ash by Elegance debut is it reminded me more of like a perfume commercial for Macy's that I would see, more so than a golden age of Hollywood actress sort of thing. Now, if anybody does, see any comparisons or similarities, again, let us know in the chats. Be cool about it if you do. But I'm not seeing any reason to call this an exact, rip off per se of Tony Storm.
Yeah, and guess what? If it is, that's all wrestling has ever been, is
Yeah.
people ripping each other off. So get over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Nemeth debuting, formerly known Dolph Ziggler. I don't think he's signed with TNA. I just think he's coming in for a shot, kind of that thing. Because he also I think has a date with GCW and Cardona.
Yeah.
He's got the New Japan stuff going on. So again, TNA feels like another one of those indies where you don't need a contract to come in. You can get a contract if you would like, but
Yeah.
you can still kind of come in and do some work. Um, he seems like he fits well in TNA again over
Yes.
AEW. I saw the joke on Twitter. The TNA just went back to the name TNA and went back to bringing in old WWE stars. So, you know, as funny as that is,
Yeah.
it's it is true. But I'm excited to see what he can do in there. He'll make Moose look like $1 million and
Sure.
just uh, bump all over the ring for him. Moose looked fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
Just physically, and uh, that's a big one for TNA that he stuck with them, because Moose, I thought, was definitely going to go to the WWE and just never did. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, like, TNA, I think had a good showing. Probably didn't knock it out of the park like they wanted to, but I think did well enough that people are going to pay attention and people are going to want to see what they do next.
Yeah, a couple of other things I'd like to point out about this show. Kicking it off, obviously, Vikingo was in that X Division Championship triple threat match. Announced the partnership between TNA and AAA. I think that that's really cool to set yourself up for success by partnering with a promotion. What this may do to impact any sort of working relationship with AEW remains to be seen. I mean, there might be no impact at all. Definitely a pun intended, but not really. So we'll see how it all plays out. And I also really enjoyed the medical initiative that they've set up too, and really trying to establish themselves as a brand. And yes, they are a wrestling company, but they're still a corporation, and they still have to create that corporate culture. And they did a really good job of setting that up there that night, I think.
Yeah, overall, I think it was a win, and it should be a win in the long run. Yeah, formally having a partnership is very good. It's kind of weird that they've been doing this a lot of stuff with AAA and didn't have a formal partnership, but that's a cool thing. Yeah, I don't know how this affects AEW. Does AEW still come in with open arms? I know they have their big New Japan partnership. So does that affect that in any way? It'll be interesting to see. They haven't really done much since that initial kind of partnership with Kenny Omega and
Yeah.
Christian, and when they did that angle, like
Yeah.
that was what, 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Man,
Yeah,
that feels like a lifetime
like
ago.
I know it
That
feels like
Daily Space
forever
era
ago.
was crazy, dude.
Yeah, like that just they haven't done much since, so maybe that door is closed, and maybe AEW is focusing more on New Japan work than anybody else. But I don't know. Let's Speaking of AEW, you watched Battle of the
I
Belts.
did. I did. I
I'm
watched
proud
Battle
of
of the
you.
Belts. I watched Rampage too. Yeah.
Okay, well, now you're just bragging. Somebody
Well,
didn't have any plans.
I didn't say that at all, but
Well, I was in
be
bed at
100% true.
8:30, so
I mean, I didn't watch them live. I watched them today. Yeah,
oh well.
I still went out this weekend, bud.
No, I didn't. My kids were sick. Sorry.
Aw,
So
I hate to hear it.
I ruined my date night, man. Don't have kids.
That's right. You were gonna. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You were gonna go see Iron Claw. I forgot about that.
Oops.
Um, yeah, but yeah, back to wrestling. I did watch both of those shows. Couple of things I want to point out. Queen Aminata is going to be a star for that women's division.
Is she
Wonderful
signed?
match with. It's from what I've heard, she has been for a while.
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily on a per deal basis or whether it's a full time salary contract or anything like that. But it does sound like she has been signed. Great match with Sheeta. That was one of my favorites as far as that hour on Rampage. We saw the Dark Order in action in the main event. I'm glad to have seen them on Rampage because I was worried that they weren't on the Homecoming edition of Dynamite. So this kind of took away, some of the negative critiques I had, for that show because they weren't on it. So Dark Order, yeah, gets a big win there as well. I mean, those are really kind of the main exciting things. Battle of the Belts. They had an interesting start to it. The tag team titles were on the line in a street fight. I mean, once 10 o'clock hits, they were literally fighting on the street. Started outside and then made their way into the arena, which I thought was really cool. Falls count anywhere as well, something you don't normally see in a street fight. So it was a fun way to open that show. Sammy Guevara once again had to fly off of something really, really tall and got pinned for it. So, that'll happen.
So they
but
lost.
They did. Starks and Big Bill did retain.
I saw that they allegedly. This is just internet sleuthing. that they piped in some crowd noise for the Jericho Guevara promo?
Uh, it sounded like it because you can tell the difference between WWE and AEW as far as when they are trying to either pipe in noise or bleep things out when they, like the holy shit chants, things like that.
Yep.
AEW will just use canned sound instead of just the audio cut that WWE does. So it was noticeable in some spots, but it is what it is. But like I said,
was there booing? Like when Jericho came out, was there? Could you?
So once they all made their way into the arena, kind of through the fighting, you could definitely tell that there were some boos as Jericho's doing his usual babyface kind of work to hype up the crowd. There were definitely a smattering of boos in there. So yeah.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jericho. Again, nothing has really come out, so I don't know what to think still.
There's nothing that we can say on it because we don't know anything, and we're not going to say anything on it. I'm not going to anyway.
No, and I can't either until something comes about. But I know he has that tour coming up, so this might have been kind of a go away match. Did it feel like a kind of a go away match, or
so
did it feel like the end of the feud?
I'm gonna say 60-40 yes. So part of the issue was with as far as the finishes go, Hobbs and Takeshita got involved. Both had some involvement. Hobbs pulls Stark off of the platform that Sammy was going to dive onto. Jericho ended up taking a nasty power bomb through a table, thanks to the assist of Takeshita and Big Bill. So yeah, it does make it feel like it does feel like Jericho will be written off TV for a while. How long that'll be, I don't know. But I don't see them challenging for a rematch anytime soon, even when Jericho does return.
All right, that's fair. Anything else from this weekend that you wanted to talk about before we get into our Raw preview?
Yeah, GCW had 2 amazing shows. If you've not watched them yet on Triller, go do that. What else did I watch this weekend?
We got to talk about the Scapegoat.
Yes. While I did not watch this full show yet because it was 4.5 hours, I couldn't do that all at once. So I'm gonna have to break it up into chunks throughout the week. But Jack Perry did arrive at Battle of the Valley in New Japan, tore up his AEW contract, had an armband that said the word Scapegoat. This is interesting. This is interesting. I know that there was a lot of speculation about him being the devil, but I think this is a much better way to bring him back into the fold.
I think this would be a lot, and I slept on this. I think this would be a lot more interesting if we didn't know that AEW and New Japan have that partnership.
That's fair.
Because I don't think he's not signed with AEW anymore. It's good to see him back. I think this will be great for his heel work. I think, if anything, this can make him more of a babyface, so maybe not great for his heel work. I think people are going to actively root for him now because he's going to come out and say, "Hey, I was scapegoated." It almost reminds me, and it's a different situation, but it almost reminds me of when Matt Hardy came back and attacked Edge.
Oh. Yeah, yep, I got it. And I actually just watched that segment maybe a week and a half ago.
I remember you talking
walking
about
through the backstage there. Yeah, good memory there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit of. I was wronged. I got suspended. I've been gone for a very long time. The other guy, is the bigger star, and he got the treatment that everybody else felt like I deserved and all that good stuff. So I think this could be very good for his character. Very good for his work. I think it's good for him to get away from AEW for a while and maybe go wrestle in Japan in front of a new audience and, again, learn some things where he can play with the crowd a little bit. It's always I think it's always good for people that are in that one realm, right? When you debut with WWE and you're just with WWE, and then they leave WWE and you see a totally different thing. I think it's going to be good for Jack Perry to leave AEW where he's been the entire time, where the crowd's kind of grown up with him a little bit, right? And now he's going to go to New Japan in front of a whole new audience, and have a whole new roster to work with. And I think this is going to be really, really good for him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was the big knock that we had was his character work as a heel. That first heel promo that he gave, just it was bad. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
And I think now, working with New Japan on a, let's just say, semi-consistent basis at this point will be good for that character development. If there's one thing they know how to do in New Japan, it is build a character to plug into a story, and he will excel if given the right opportunity and the right people to work with. As far as this feud, because who is he in? Who did he attack?
It was Umino, wasn't it? Shota Umino.
I think so. I'll take your word for that. I'll confirm
Again,
when I watch.
It's been a lot of wrestling, so yeah. I think it was. I think it was Moxley. Who's Moxley's protege? Isn't that Umino? We'll have to go look.
Anybody? Yeah, I was gonna say if anybody out there knows, feel free to hop in those. People need to hop in the chats more in 2024. That's I think what we need to start speaking.
I don't think anybody needs to comment on my face anymore. I'm getting tired of it. I'm not wearing makeup. I'm white. I'm pale. And my lips are pink. Promise. Promise I'm not wearing makeup, folks. And if I was, I look great. You know what? I look really, really good.
Yeah.
So, that's just how it is. Man, you guys can hate on my face, but you just wish you were me, so that's fine. You know who else?
Yeah.
Shouldn't get any hate, but still does?
Deonna Purrazzo did today, and I'm really effing sick of it.
Well, she had a great response, though.
Yeah, she handled it perfectly.
Which that was a fantastic response. Go Google it, you'll be happy. No, don't hinder the gender, baby.
Oh yeah,
big night.
We got it.
Big night.
Who would have thought this time last week that we would be excited about this main event? Not me.
Yeah, here we are. Raw's got I think this match is very intriguing, and then there's another match that is kind of a under the radar match, I think, with DIY and JD and Dominic.
Dirty Dom, yeah.
I think DIY is going to be the one to get these tag titles.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
I know, I am too.
Yeah, that would be great. I think at this point, again, and we talked about this on one of our episodes last week, it's just time to split those belts. They have enough tag teams. There is a renewed emphasis on the tag team division now that you can do this. We've got Authors of Pain back on SmackDown as part of the overall Final Testament with Cross and Scarlett and Paul Ellering. I think it's going to be,
Scarlett as a brunette now.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks great.
Fantastic.
And then, and then Awesome Truth. Who knows? This could be another resurgent run for these two. It could be fun.
I know.
It could be a lot of fun here. I mean, R-Truth still getting that Judgment Day merch money because of the new shirt. Miz,
did you see it's number one?
I did not, but that doesn't surprise me.
It passed Punk's shirt.
It surpassed Punk's shirt,
which is freaking amazing. Good for him, man. Good for him. He is just. How long has he been in that company? That's 2010, 2009?
I mean, I'm going back to the K Quick days. I know there was a 3 to 4 year stretch there where he flipped over to TNA and had 10 pounds of gold. But for the better part of 20 years, he's been within the WWE fold.
That's crazy. Good for him, and it's still reinventing himself. That guy is going to be such a good teacher in the PC. It's not even funny.
Looks the same as he did 10 years ago. Looks the same as he did 20 years ago. I mean, there
looks fantastic.
The fact that he still looks like that, and there is demonstrable proof that he hung out with Tupac back in the early 90s, it's just it blows my mind, man. Yeah.
No, it's great. Also, shout out to that main event on SmackDown. It was very, very good. The tag match. Tag match was. I am very excited for that 4-way at the Rumble. For sure. Part of me thinks they're going to take the title off Roman, but part of me is they're going to keep it. And then, with the news coming out that there's a potential he won't be at Perth is kind of, I don't know. And I think that's the first time where I can talk about his title and go, I don't know, in a little while.
Yeah, because, I mean, and this is, again, something we said on one of our earlier shows. He's beaten everybody that there is to beat as far as a credible challenger for this championship. So I don't know. I mean, it's been a saga and it's been something, but I'm just ready to see how this all plays out for sure. I also do want to highlight Bailey and Bianca from Friday night as well. I mean, that will go down as an all-time great rivalry, I think, because they do such under the radar classics that if you sit and just take the chance to watch and take notes and see what they're doing, I mean, it's hard not to be entertained by them anytime they mix it up. So shout out to them for that.
I'm pumped for the Rumble, man. Yeah, I'm excited.
It is going to be a good time. I mean, if the weather cooperates, this might be a pork shoulder or a brisket in the smoker, bud.
Let's hope so, man. What's the weather right now? I think it feels like -3 outside here in the great city of Cincinnati. So let's hope it warms up by then.
Yeah, Sirius says it's currently 14 degrees, but that's not factoring in wind chill. I'm over it. I'm ready for pool season.
Well, we got a whole week of this, so get ready.
I know. But I really don't have to leave the house all that much this week. Beauty working from home.
God, and the show. Now you made me angry.
All right. Well, it's time to end the show anyway. I'm waiting on some General So's and some crab ring goods. So that's been up there.
Eagles,
that has been up there the entire episode.
Road to victory.
Okay.
Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for enjoying this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. Remember, hit that QR code. One of these days I'll get it right. Top left corner. You got
mirrored.
The other way now.
I'm mirrored. Which one is it now? Oh my god. I don't know.
Anyway, share, subscribe, help us to run those numbers. Great interviews this week. We've got the main event mixer coming up with the On the Mark podcast, guys. Revamp Stump the Smart is coming. We have something very, very awesome in the works. We cannot wait to debut for you guys.
Thank you so much, Johnny. That's all I'll say.
This one, I gotta say, he pitched a pretty good contract. This contract is not. This contract's not biting me in the ass right now. Okay, so yeah, I enjoy it. But anyway,
don't lose to Baker Mayfield. Good God. You're either gonna get a really angry me tomorrow or a very happy me. Just get ready. Oh, I'm not even on the show.
It's usually yeah, whatever.
I forgot. I'm not even on the show.
Yeah, exactly. So, relax, angry slacks. Anyway, thank you guys so much for enjoying this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We will see you guys tomorrow night at 6:30 like always. Have a good night.